What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Wales, New Jersey, back again for another UFC Fight Night live this Saturday night at the Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. Alright, Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. First fight of the night. Junior Tafa versus Sean Sharif. And up after that, Corey McKenna versus Juliana Palastri. Corey McKenna, the Welsh woman. Let's go. She's 3-2 in the UFC, made her debut back in 2020. Her last performance out in the octagon, she lost to Jacqueline Amarin by armbar in round 1. But she does have a couple of wins under her belt in the UFC. She's taking on Julia Palastri, who is 0-1 in the UFC for this year. She's 1-1 in the Contender Series and 2-0 in the LFA. Her last fight in the UFC was against Josephine Knutson. It was a decision loss. So, interesting fight here for Corey McKenna. Juliana Palastri is a -150 favorite, while Corey McKenna is a +125 underdog. I don't know about that. Definitely betting on the Welshwoman on this one. Let's go Wales. Up after that, Don Argueta versus Cody Haddon. Then we got Jonathan Pierce versus Pat Sabatini. CJ Vergara versus Ramazan Temirov. Then we got Clayton Carpenter versus Lucas Rocha. 7-0 Clayton Carpenter made his UFC debut in 2023 and he is 1-0. That win came against Juan Camilo Ronderos by rear naked choke in the first round. Okay. One to watch, training at the MMA lab in Arizona. He is taking on Lucas Rocha, who is 17-1 in his mixed martial arts career. He is making his UFC debut. He did fight on Dana White's Contender Series, won by a knee in the second round. Okay. Let's see before that. He had a unanimous decision, round 2 win, round 1, round 3, round 1, round 1, round 1, round 3, round 1. Okay. Interesting fight here, lads. Lucas Rocha versus Clayton Carpenter, one to keep an eye on. And then after that, Nico Price versus Themba Gorbino. And then Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono. Josh Fremd versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Then we got Chidi Njokuani versus Jared Gooden. Then Grant Dawson versus Rafa Garcia. Then the co-main event, Brad Tavares versus Jung Young Park. Brad Tavares is a veteran of the game. Been in the UFC since 2010. He is 15-9. Good record. He is coming off a loss to Gregory Robocop Rodriguez in round number 3. Look at that. He has a win over Chris Weidman. Lost to Bruno Silva, Dricus du Plessis. Beat Omarai Akhmedov. Antonio Carlos Jr. Lost to Shabazian. Lost to Izzy. He's been fighting for a while in the UFC, lads. A lot of UFC experience. And he is taking on Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle, who is 17-6 with a record of 7-3 in the UFC. Made his debut in 2019. He's coming off a loss to Andre Muniz. But before that, he went on a little bit of a tear, and this is why they call him the Iron Turtle. Rear naked choke, round 2, round 1, round 2. The guy's he's a good grappler, is the old Iron Turtle. And if he gets you down, if he gets your back, it's tough to get him off. The Iron Turtle. And then we come to the main event of the evening, Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. Brandon Royval is 6-3 in the UFC, made his debut in 2020. coming off a win against Brandon Moreno, a split decision win. And he's only really lost to the champions. You know, he lost to Alejandro Pantoja twice, and he lost to Brandon Moreno for the belt. But before that, look at that. He's beat Kai Kara France, Tim Elliott, Matthias Nicolau. He's had some good scraps in the UFC, and he's got some good wins. Like he's pretty much beat everybody except for title fights. Like, he hasn't done well in title fights. But he is fighting the Japanese sensation, Tatsuro Taira, who is 6-0 in the UFC, made his debut in 2022. Coming off a win against Alex Perez from a knee injury from a takedown. Hey, in my book, if you take him down and he gets injured, that means you're stronger than him, mate. You're doing more than him, you know? I mean, injuries are unfortunate, but still, at the same time, you got to be prepared in the fight. He's also beat Carlos Hernandez, Edgar Chairez, Jesus Aguilar, CJ Vergara, and Carlos Candeliaro. Well, this should actually be a good scrap here. Good scrap. A lot of people have been talking about Tatsuro Taira, and he's going to be a superstar. He's going to be the next champion. He's big over in Japan. So yeah, I mean, should be a good scrap. I mean, to be completely honest, overall it's not that great of a card, but it's still a fight on a Saturday night. It's still the UFC. There's going to be some good fights. There's going to be stuff to talk about. I'm going to be sitting there watching it, drinking my Coors Light. I could talk. It could be the worst card in the world, but I'll still sit here and watch the fights on Saturday nights. But just a quick preview tonight, lads. Just wanted to show you the fights and who's fighting. Prelims start at 4 p.m. East Coast time. Main card starts at 7. So enjoy the fights if you're watching them. Be safe and don't drink and drive. Peace.